So once again, we're back on day 12, back on the code. This entire week, we're working on the code. Earlier this week, we'd gone through the real, raw, relevant, and today is the reason why we even focus on all the real, raw, and relevant, because we want the results, right? In our culture today, um, we forget that what we do, and we're kind of addicted to a story, right? We're addicted to a story. I had a recent example yesterday where there's a kid I'm looking out for, and he wasn't paying attention to a car, and it got destroyed. Now he's wanting another car, and he wants to tell me all the stories of well, how this car is great, and all I really need to tell me is to justify why we should just, why we should be willing to pay all this. And he kept wanting to tell me a story and a story and a story and a story. And what we've become is a culture of storytellers, right? And the reasons aren't the result, right? We often substitute results. Like I've had a lot of rental properties, and everybody come up with a great reason, and we've accepted as a culture that we will accept a reason rather than result. This is an epidemic as an employer and a parent, and what we find is that until you reduce everything down to a yes or no answer, did you do it, yes or no, and that's the only thing that matters. We're taught in our culture to have compassion, right? We're to have compassion for people, like will understand, but we confuse that with the compassion is really getting them the result that they want and growing them as a person. Is not listening to their story so they become a better storyteller. So once again, what I do and what we need to do is we need to break it down to a yes or no answer. Did we get the result? Yes or no? And we can't get caught up in entertaining stories uh, or reasons and accept those as anything that we as an acceptable alternative to the result. In fact, most of what happens in our culture um, is that we accept that, and I've found that in my own life, right, where it just seems like if I have a story, right, I was at the bank today resolving some significant issues that I've created, and in the past, I've had my story ready that these things have happened, and actually it was a really good experience because the bank is really really good at saying yes or no, right, and probably a skill that I should have used earlier in my career, right? Where I have compassion for employees and I have compassion for renters and I have compassion for all the other people. But what ends up happening is we end up having all these monkeys on our back, and we accept these stories, and we have to realize, especially when it comes to our kingdom and our kingdom first, as part of the code, the real and the raw and the relevant make no uh, sense. There's no point to even being raw. No going through all of the emotional and going through all of the emotion of being raw if you're not going to actually use the fuel and you're not actually going to invest in the focus to get the desired result. If you accept anything other than the result, that you've wasted your time on or it's really a call to refocus um, on what is relevant. Excuse me. So once again, the review of the code, and this would be the last segment of the code. Obviously, this is the fourth leg of that: real, raw, relevant. And the reason that we even go through all of the real and all of the raw and all of the relevant is so that we can get the desired result. And once again, that goes back to what we talked about last week about having absolute clarity. That's a foundation of having clarity around what we want, what is the result. And earlier this week, we hit on the why. Like, why is it that we want to have those things? And the reason that we focus and we spend the time going, like, getting ourselves in reality of where we are and what we want, and then we actually give ourselves permission to experience and draw in the fire of the emotion in the raw. And again, the the focus of the relevance in the direction that we get to the result. So once again, we need to be clear on what the desired result is, and that is the only acceptable option, and it is reduced to a yes or no answer. Yes, I got it. No, I didn't. So once again, the facts, the feelings, times the feelings plus the focus equals the fruit or the result. Assignment once again is to teach this. If you can't teach it, you don't know it. If you don't know it, you can't live it. Follow the instructions on the rest of the assignments below on the page, and we will talk to you tomorrow.